Welcome to One Root Initiative. Um, this is the first in a series of talks that we're going to have that we hope is helpful to our brothers and sisters engaged in the work of youth mentoring and social services. So, here at One Root, our motto is cooperation over competition. And that idea that cooperation is greater than competition is more than just our slogan. It's something that we're committed to modeling, and we believe that through example, we can show how cooperative organizations rooted in diversity, equity, and inclusion can lead to better outcomes for all. So, how do we start? That's not really the right question. The right question to ask is when do we start? And the answer is always right now. On our site, we'll be offering a series of short video clips that you'll be able to access by topic. And if your community based organization is dealing with a specific problem that you might could use some assistance and some cooperation and collaboration with, we want you to drop us a line and we'll get back to you. Going to be how to solve any problem. People that are engaged in youth mentoring work and gang intervention, violence prevention work, and general wellness work with youth, right? Um, it's a big task, and we know that because we're engaged in this work alongside you, we know that problems arise. Sometimes there are dilemmas, there are decisions that have to be made when there's not a clear choice. you know, we know that sometimes problems arise and decisions have to be made when there's not a clear choice to be made. That's where one choice is superior to the other and will solve all the problems. So we want to share something that I've developed, and it's based in Gerald Corey's ethical decision making model, which is like a psychotherapy and counseling model, but we've adapted it. We've adapted it for community work. Um, the title of this video is how to solve any problem, right? And so before we actually get to it, we want to say that this problem of not being able to solve problems is a leadership problem, right? And there's a quote from retired General, uh, what's his name, Stanley McChrystal, right? I always liked it. I liked it from the first time I heard it. And he says, people will forgive you for not being the leader you should be, but they won't forgive you for not being the leader you claim to be, right? And so that means basically that people will give you grace for learning on the fly, for trying to figure it out, for putting your best foot forward, for trying and failing and rising and trying again. But people are very critical, as they should be, of leadership who do not commit to ongoing development. And that's what we're talking about. We have a rapidly changing world. We have youth that are feeling isolated and misunderstood. And we need to find more and more creative ways to connect with them and to serve their needs in a way that addresses them not as a problem, but addresses them as co-participants in finding solutions to make healthier communities. So, when we talk about this problem, right? I want to define what the problem is, and the problem has often been that we know what problems are. We'll run up against a problem, and we become satisfied with just talking about the problem, as opposed to defining the problem and then moving on to the business of solutions, which falls to that's the task of supervision and leadership, right? We're not talking about our frontline workers that we partner with. We're talking about the people who would guide organizations, right? This falls into our court, and it's a two-headed problem. This leadership crisis, and the first part is a heart problem, and that's that we have people who may believe that it's important to hoard power, to hoard knowledge, and to kind of say, I'll solve it. You guys follow my orders, and we're going to solve problems in that way, right? And that's kind of to borrow a $10 word term. That's kind of a um, of a way that that we adhere to the principles of patriarchy, right? And that's definitely a top-down authoritarian model, right? And we want to move away from that. What we're advocating is that we move to a more inclusive problem-solving style, where collaboration is the way that we manage these things. And even those that want to use a collaborative model often just don't know how to do it, and that's not a heart problem. That's a resources problem, and that's where we at One Root Initiative can come in, because we can take the benefits of our knowledge and education, and we want to make it accessible to you, to small CBOs, to people who could use frameworks in everyday situations, right? So there's something we can do about the issues that we face that sometimes cause dilemmas within our organizations. So this model is based on 5 steps, and again, this is adapted from Gerald Corey's ethical decision making model. I advise you to look at it and to research that for more information. Um, but we're going to go through the steps really quick. Step one: define the problem. Ask yourself, what are my roadblocks? What's stopping me from achieving this goal? The second part of defining the problem is to know what's at stake. What do we gain? What do we stand to lose or not gain by continuing to run against this roadblock? Once we can define that and set that down on paper, it helps us to then begin to be able to have a hard target for our collaborators to look at. Step two: list your options with pen and paper. I know people don't write anymore. I know people are on their laptops and they type, and that's fine. You can list it that way, but I advocate that you literally, in some form or fashion, list the options of what you possibly could do. After that, have your team weigh each option individually. What is the best possible outcome if we select this course of action? What's the worst possible outcome? And by weighing them out in this fashion, you'll begin to see which options are superior to others, right? The next step, step three, is to consult. Consult means consult with each other, with your team for sure, but consult outside your thought bubble. Consult outside your think tank. Don't know who you can call on to consult with? I recommend One Root Initiative. Hit us hit us on our line. We'll hit you back. We'll consult with you. And step five, the last one, is after you have defined the problem, listed your options, weighed your options, you've consulted. Now it's time to choose. Choose and give yourself freedom to get it wrong and start again. So that's the 5 step model for how to solve any problem. I hope that it's been beneficial. We send our peace and blessings. We hope to hear from you soon.